Welcome to Recruiting Intel on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm Joe Cook, got Justin Wells. We'll have Coach Dub joining us in a little bit. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And, of course, make sure you head to InsideTexas.com. It is the first link in our description. There we go. You can join Inside Texas now for just $1. Get all the best access to Texas Longhorns team information, recruiting insight, the best Texas community. Of course, we'll throw in a full year of access to the Athletic as well. In addition, make sure you come check out our 40th anniversary happy hours. First one is tonight here in the Houston area, Marquee Center, Big City Wings over at I-10 and Silver. Happy hour from 5 to 7, trivia from 7 to 9. A lot of great stuff happening over there. Eric, LC will be there. Hope to see y'all out. Wednesday, August 27th, Dallas, Texas, Katy Trail Icehouse. Happy hour starts at 5 p.m. No trivia there, but a long time. That's a place that has been a long time Inside Texas happy hour home. And then Thursday, August 28th, Austin, Texas, Little Woodrow's one on Burnet Road. Happy hour from 5 to 7, trivia from 79. A lot of us will be there. RT, Ian, Keenan, myself, and then, of course, Eric. So make sure you come check that out. And Justin, we're getting closer and closer to the beginning of the season, 4 days away. There are going to be some recruits up in Columbus. Some of them have Texas offers. Some of them are guys Texas is after. But they're all 2027s. And, you know, we're at that stage where we can kind of do a little bit of review of the 2026 class and see what else the Longhorns need. Right now, they are number 5 in the Rivals recruiting rankings. They have 21 commits. And today, we're going to go over some of the grades for the class. You posted this article on Inside Texas just about a month ago. We haven't gotten to it on video, but now's a good time for that as the season approaches. 6 or 7 more spots to fill in this recruiting class? Something like that. They need an offensive lineman. They may need a couple more players at different spots. But a lot of the offense is kind of taken care of at this point.
Yeah, they need probably about 4 or 5 more guys. They'd like another edge. They're going to bring in another edge. They have to get another offensive tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in 2 more offensive linemen if they're the right guys. Probably either a late senior eval or a flip, which is probably the most likely, Mr. Patrick Page. But the thing on offense is with Derek Cooper joining in. I think Cooper joined after I wrote that article, if I remember correctly. And if that being the case, I think you've got everybody but the tight end. I think that's the one position on the offense that they've got to find someone there. And so, yeah, give me an edge, give me an offensive tackle or 2, give me a tight end, and I think they're going to call it a day. I do think they want to add another defensive back, whether it be a corner or a safety, but I think, again, it's got to be the right person. Sarks, they have a board. They have guys who they want, and they're not going to sway away from that. And so I think 5 is probably the number, maybe even 6. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of trickles down. But, edge, tight end, offensive tackle. You feel in those spots, and this is a loaded class.
No matter where they go, we know they're not getting another quarterback or not needing to get another high-end or quarterback. That's because they have Dia Bell, number 4 overall prospect in the Rivals industry ranking, which kind of amalgamates the 3 major networks. Rivals has Dia Bell as the number 2 overall prospect. We've seen him in action already this year. And there is, as everybody at Inside Texas, including you, says, there is no more important recruit in this 2026 class than Mr. Dia Bell himself.
You know what's funny about Dia is when you talk to other commits in the class, you realize how much Dia interacts with those guys behind the scenes. You know, you don't see him tweeting out like a lot of recruits do sometimes to other players and prospects. Dia is a very quiet guy, but behind the scenes, he's burning up the phones. He's talking to the running backs. Derek Cooper. He's talking to the receivers, guys like Cohen Brown and Jermaine Bishop. He's talking to Max Wright and John Turntine. He's interacting with these guys. I think that's huge. I really do. Not to mention he's coming off a performance of a 28-point comeback win, which not only is an amazing, performance, but he's coming off his injury. That last time we saw him play actual football, he was hurt. And so I think that was a big confidence thing for him. I caught up with him on Saturday just to check in with him. And he said he'd never felt better. Said he actually feels stronger, feels a little bit quicker. He feels sharp. And this is a guy that's going to be on campus in January. And so that's a good thing. I will go as far as to say this. Arch Manning is one of the best quarterback prospects we've ever covered, me personally. Dia Bell is not much different. Honestly, I mean, there are things that Dia does that I think are better than Arch. And so I think Arch is loading up. That's how I put it. Because Dia Bell is special. This is it not just because he's the number 1 ranked kid, because of what he can do on and off the field. He is very athletic. He keeps his eyes downfield. He's mobile. He can make every single pass in the offense. He already understands a lot of the offensive concepts. And he's got some genes of just unbelievable athletic ability. He's a competitor. He's the oldest of the house, so he's always had to be the example. Those guys are always kind of held to a higher standard. Dia understands this kind of stuff. He is the consummate professional. There's not one quarterback in the country that was better for each other than Dia in Texas.
And talk about him being the most important guy in this class. There are schools that still talk to him. And I know a lot of that is just kind of the recruiting media industrial complex. Like, hey, does anybody still talk to you? And Dia says, yes, LSU reaches out to me. But we've never gotten the sense, Justin, that LSU communication is open enough to where it means he's going to just show up in Baton Rouge.
No, I would be, quite frankly, I'd be shocked if he showed up in Baton Rouge. You know, it's not uncommon for commitments to take visits. We've reported a handful of them. I think this weekend, James Johnson and Derek Cooper are going to be at the Miami game. Those are 2 Texas commits. So that's not an uncommon thing. But knowing Dia, it would be different. It would be different than what he has been doing in the last year or so. If there's one thing Dia does outside of build up his teammates and root on his guys, it's promote Texas. He is a walking billboard on every social media account. Whenever he's playing in games, he's always got something Texas to him. He's always talking about it being home. Again, a lot of kids take out-of-state, a lot of out-of-state commits will take visits. A lot of times you don't have to worry about it. Dia Bell, I don't see that happening. Things can change. We understand that. The recruiting world can always change. Things can happen. But right now, Dia Bell taking another visit is probably the least likely thing I can imagine.
Got to go to running back real quick. Only one in this class, which is a little bit different, but Chad Scott got his one. That is Chaminade Madonna Preps, Derek Cooper, and we've already seen some great things from him here in the early portion of the season. You gave it an A. Still think it's an A, even with a one-person class, just because of the prospect Cooper is?
I do. I think it would be unfair to have anything less than an A, simply because of how good he is, how much of a need he feels, Joe. I think part of the grade is the need factor here. They had to get one in this class. I mean, they could have got – they don't necessarily need 2 in 2026. They probably will in 2027. But so it made that one guy they're going to get in this cycle important. And if you're going to get just one guy, Derek Cooper is a great one-person horse. We watched his highlights. This guy is a great football player on both sides of the field. But his stuff 2 Friday nights ago, I don't remember seeing that burst. I don't remember seeing that speed from that guy, that kind of size. We always look at him as a bigger back. I mean, the guy's 210, 215 pounds. He'll fit in the SEC. That's another reason I think this is an A. I think he's a natural fit in this conference. There's a reason Miami is not going to let up recruiting him. Number 2 ranked, Rivals industry ranking running back. And so I still give it an A. Also on top of the fact that Chad Scott's new on the job. And when you can get a borderline 5-star as your first commitment in a class, you get an A and an apple for the class.
Welcome in, Coach Dub. Coach, we already gave Dia Bell in Texas 2026 offensive recruiting grades. Bell got an A+, Cooper got an A. Sound about right to you?
Hey, I definitely agree. You saw his first game, right? He just running away from dudes, man. Like a freight train, old school type of running back, a big guy who can run through people, run around people, run past them. So, yeah, I definitely give him an A.
Before we keep going, you know who else gets an A? If you're looking for tickets, whether it be to the Ohio State game, whether it be to any Texas game, no matter where it is at Game Time. If you use the promo code ON3, you will get $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Love using Game Time. I bought MLB, NBA, all different sorts of tickets with that. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's a hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. You can get great deals. It also, my favorite feature of the app is the all-in pricing. Fees are included, so you know your total up front. No surprises at checkouts. And you also get a great view of what your preview of what your view from your seat will look like. Game Time has the lowest price guarantee, and they will credit you 110% of the difference, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. So once again, take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download Game Time app or go to gametime.co, create an account, use code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account, ON3, $20 off. Justin, tell the people what time it is.
Game time.
Oh man, we haven't been able to do that quite yet. Got some good questions coming in. Patrick Pades, Justin, Preston Stouts, whose mom's from Longview, left Duncanville's now at Mansfield Timberview. Class of 2028 edge, 6'5", 220. Had a good scrimmage versus Aledo. Either of y'all know much about Mr. Stouts as we get some 2028 questions in here?
I know some 2028s, but I don't know this one yet. This is a new one. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I haven't heard about this kid, but 6'5", 220. I'm sure he's going to pop up on somebody's radar. I'm sure I hear about him in the DFW area. Maybe check him out if he played somebody else. Mansfield plays, I want to say they got a big game throughout the year somewhere, but maybe. So if they play Waxahachie, maybe I get to see him play against Cohen Brown or somebody else.
Kind of leads into.
If you can rush the passer, Texas is going to take a look at you.
Yeah.
Kind of leads into another question from our guy, David Williams. Have y'all put any focus on 2028? Justin, you put the focus on a certain 2028 who's the son of a former Texas player who plays Williams David's favorite position.
Yeah, I know. I felt bad seeing that question because David's missing out on a lot of good information. David, we've been posting about some of the 2028s on the come up that Texas is on. Man, we miss you at Inside Texas. You're missing out on some of the best information on the World Wide Web, my man. You need to come back so you can be in the know and not be hanging out left to dry, man. I feel bad for you. I'm gonna give you a guy, Chris Whaley Jr. Okay, so son of Chris Whaley, former running back at Madisonville, defensive lineman at Texas. Had a great senior year till that Achilles injury killed that, but played for a few years for the Dallas Cowboys, but always good memories because Chris was a great player. Texas fans loved him. He had an incredible senior year. His son, my goodness, man. I mean, Chris was an impressive recruit because he was such a big running back. He was kind of in that Henry Melton, Cody Johnson mold where you didn't know exactly what side of the ball, but you recruited them just because you knew they were going to be able to do it at the college level. I watched C.J. Whaley for 3 plays. He can do it at the college level and probably better. He's 6'6". He's 205 pounds. He plays wide receiver. He plays tight end. He plays edge, defensive end, and he does all of them really well. He played all 3 spots. He made plays at every single spot. And, David, if you're at Inside Texas, you can actually see every one of those video clips at InsideTexas.com. I was expecting to see a pretty good young athlete, maybe a little bit of a baby deer, a little uncoordinated. I was wrong. That kid came to play. He is physical. He is aggressive. He has an incredible attitude. He made it up to Atlanta High School, weightlifting and summer workouts every single day this summer, according to Tyler Morton, his head coach. That's not easy to do.
Right.
And so that's what you want. And I told him, he's already got a couple nice little offers. Texas A&M offered him by the time I was in the parking lot. And so, but Texas is the one. That's the one he wants. He's going to visit the Horns this fall. That's the one he dreams about. That's the one he promised his dad when Texas offers. That's where he's going. This kid's going to be a lot of fun to watch in the future for 2028. I feel like Charlie saw another 2028, Demarion Mays.
Yeah.
Why don't you educate David, since he won't see it, since we can't see him at InsideTexas.com, go ahead and educate him on that joker.
Yeah, Demarion Mays, man, the new receiver at North Crowley. I think he had the chance. I think he's probably going to be the number one receiver in the nation by the time it's time for that class to have their ranking. But Demarion Mays is a phenomenal player, man. This kid's already built. I mean, he's 6'3.5", runs like the wind, can jump. He's physical. He's going to let you know about it, too. Yeah, he even caught a touchdown on number 1 corner or number 2 corner nation, John Meredith. Like, a nice fade ball, too, right? So he's very confident young man, too. I love him. I love his film. That's a guy you should definitely keep an eye out on. I think he talked about Texas a little bit. He has a great relationship with Coach Chris Jackson. Texas really stood out to him when he went on his visit. So when he came to Austin, so I think that's definitely one you should definitely keep an eye on.
2028 has some family affair guys. So you mentioned Mays. You mentioned Whaley. Here's some last names that are recognizable. Jalen Adai at Pearland Shadow Creek, son of Joseph Adai. You got Whaley. And then you've also got one of my favorites, J.D. Edwards, little brother KJ Edwards at Carthage. He's a 2028 athlete. And then one more just to track. You don't talk about 5'8", 155 guys very often, but when they run 10 ones in the 100, you do. And that's Dylan Mitchell out of Houston C.E. King. He's up there. So there's some talented guys in 2028 to keep an eye on throughout. One more question, and we've got to get back to our guy, Williams David. Justin, I think you can hit this one. Justice Fitzpatrick, still someone Texas talks to. Was there any big chances for the Longhorns with him? I think he's committed to Georgia. If you remember, he's Minka's little brother. Minka played for Saban, obviously, but I think he played for Smart as well. So committed to the Dogs. Anything big there?
No. I mean, if we want to dream, I can let you dream. Let's dream big. Texas still talks to Justice because he's elite. And that's what Sark and these guys do. They've shown that they don't care when you're committed somewhere else. If they like you, if you're a priority on the big board, they're going to keep talking to you till signing day. They stay in touch with Justice. They would love to get him on campus, and he still connects with those guys. That being said, we're in a salary cap type era now, and there's a lot of money allocated to different positions in this class of 2026. I don't know if there's room for a big corner. I think he's a numbers buster. I think Texas would make it work if they had to. They would flip him assuredly if they could. I don't think that's going to happen right now. I think he's locked into Georgia, and I think you have to factor in the salary stuff. You have to those have to be a factor in every positional recruiting class from now on, because you can't put too many funds into one guy or two guys or one position where you got to pay Paul to steal from Peter. It's not going to work that way. And so I'd love if Texas could get Fitzpatrick back on campus. I think that would help, but I think he's going to Georgia.
Let's keep it going. Move next grade to talk to wide receiver. We include we have Cohen Brown in this class. We have Chris Stewart in this class. And then we are also including Jermaine Bishop in this trio. A lot of different guys that Texas was after here at this position, but including Bishop gets a B. Justin, I know they're probably trying to get more, but at the same time, after what they took last year in the 2025 class, this looks about what you followed up with in a developmental class, as you've mentioned.
It is, and David Williams also mentioned something about Cohen Brown, so we're going to bring this all together. David Cohen's a good-looking prospect. He needs some speed. He needs a little bit more quicks, a little bit more speed. He plays a little stiff, but he's got a great size, great hands, great strong athlete, strong kid. I was being pretty generous with a B, and it was because of Batman, Jermaine Bishop. Like, he is just a freaky kid who is criminally underrated across the board. Just watch his tape. It is ridiculous. He kind of popped up on the scene in the DJ Lagway senior year. And I mean, that was a really fun little combo to watch. I think it's a B. I think they're done at receiver. Could they get a Chris Henry? They would bend over backwards for Chris Henry, but Chris Henry is going to go to Ohio State. I would be shocked if he doesn't wind up with Brian Hartline. This is going to be the year where, last year they took the 5 stars. This year they're taking the 4 stars that they can develop. They would still love to flip Caden Finley. I think they're still talking to him. They would try to flip. They would love to flip Jalen Lott if that was still in the cards. Not really sure it is. So I'm going to go with a B. I would probably slide it more to a B- if I were to redo it today, simply because I've seen a little bit of Brown. I've seen a little bit of Chris Stewart. Chris is what he is. Like, that kid is, to me, he's the most polished of this group. He's the one that plays it on a regular basis. He's the one that trains in that position on a regular basis. He's the one that's been loyal to this group for the duration of the recruitment. I'm a big fan of him, and so B-. But Cohen Brown's got Dave, here he goes. He says Cohen runs a 10.6. Turn on the tape, David. Sometimes track could get you.
I will say, if that's a guy that Lincoln Riley thought was good enough to play wide receiver for him or be in his program, that means a little bit to me. It doesn't say everything, because Lincoln Riley takes Lincoln Riley takes 8 wide receivers a class. But that says a little bit to me that Lincoln Riley's like, I feel like I can do something with this guy at some point in my offense. So I like that. But yeah, the rankings kind of tell what this class looks like. Khaleke Lockett is pushing for a spot in that rotation for a reason, because he was early playing time centric and he had the talent to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe Bishop has that, but you're maybe not looking for that from Cohen Brown or Chris Stewart. You're looking for guys who will develop and maybe be that Parker Livingstone and take a season to get to where they need to go.
I prefer they flip Chris Henry and put Jermaine Bishop at corner. I think that, or nickel. I think that's where Bishop flourishes. He's going to win no matter what side of the field he's on. That's how good Bishop is. But if you were to add another guy like a Chris Henry, you could flip Bishop over to the other side of the ball. That would be an ideal situation too.
You just saw Henry dominate last past Friday against what's the corner we just talked about?
John Meredith?
No. They model day played the team out of Florida, St. Thomas and Chris Henry went off.
Who was the corner?
Fitzpatrick and crew. I mean, 5 catches.
Is it STA? St. Thomas Aquinas?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Chris was they couldn't guard him.
Mm-mm.
And remember, 2 years ago, Charlie and I were pretty much the presidents, co-presidents of the Chris Henry fan club. I was basically saying, look, he's going to be the best player in this class, period. Yeah. That injury knocked him down. Like but of course, Chris Henry style, he's climbing back up, going back for that elite status. By the time his senior year's over, he'll be back to being the number 1 wide receiver in the country. He'll take that off of Tristan Key's hands.
Before we keep going, got a few more guys to finish up with. Got to show some love to our other sponsor, that is Roback. There's only one way to describe Roback: best fit, best feel. For those who aren't familiar with Roback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Roback has released so many items within their new licensed game day collection, and it's our favorite. With novel polo designs and clean hoodie and Q's designs from some of your favorite schools like Texas, is definitely worth checking out. Nobody else on the market is pairing these level of custom designs with this quality of activewear. Roback's everyday shorts or their Delta Performance pants are the perfect pairing as well. Both are super comfortable, have an elastic waistband, and great fabric that's made to have the appearance of a nice short look, with the comfort for a day on the move. Roback has also been proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with multiple college football stars like Quinn Ewers. They are becoming the go-to brand for college athletes across the country. Use the code Texas20 on roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers through the end of this week. That's RHOBACK.com and 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with Texas 20.
Real quick,
all right,
David Williams, you got to catch up at Inside Texas, man. Jermaine Bishop was a DB before he was a receiver. It's not a primary one or primary the other. Actually, Bishop's touchdowns with DJ Lagway is what I think caught everybody's attention. But then you turn on his tape at corner, you realize, what's his name? Terry Joseph and Blake Gideon were his first recruiters. Now, Chris Jackson took that mantle as soon as those guys left, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I think I can get him in my room. And that's exactly what he pulled off. But the first initial thing for Texas, Jermaine Bishop's a defensive back.
Yeah.
Coach, you know, you tell your kids you got to eat your veggies before you get to have the rest of the meal.
Yeah.
We got nothing before the rest of the meal right now. We don't have a tight end in this class to talk about, and it's not for lack of effort. And you know, you could give this an NA, no grade, but Texas tried and failed with Mark Bowman, and contract details be what they are. That's something USC did and Texas didn't. You look around at a lot of different guys, Caden Prothrow, Hez Kent, whatever they decided to do with Keeve Brown. All that has led to Texas not having a tight end in this class. And, that can work for some classes, but this is a class where you need at least one. And so for now, there's nowhere to go but up for Jeff Banks.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't have to agree with the grade. You didn't get anything here, but there's a few guys that, that can be senior risers. One that has an offer from Texas, but Texas has talked to in a while, and Zachary Turner from Duncanville. I think he's a phenomenal tight end, man. They can do it all. But you just never know how some of these commitments play out. Like I say this now, 2025 season is about who was selling wolf tickets, who not. A lot of times these teams preaching, we're going to do this, we're going to be that in the offseason. Then the season gets here, and they're no good. And then coaches get fired the whole time. It may open up the door for Texas for a lot of targets. So let's wait and see. But maybe that F is just pending. We call it like midterm grade. We'll go from there.
Hey, in-state crop is down. That's what this boils down to. There have been tight ends in the last 4 or 5 cycles in the state of Texas that have been awesome. We're just not seeing that in the next couple of cycles, and I think that has a little bit to do with it as well. And look how far out Banks went. Like one of the best ones we saw this year was in Wyoming. I think another one we saw was in Idaho or in somewhere in the Midwest. It's just the in-state crop of tight ends just isn't as strong as it's been in the last few cycles.
So if you're looking for a tight end in the Rivals industry ranking, you have to scroll all the way, and I'm having to scroll a good way. I guess you could squint. Would you call Caden Johnson from Fort Bend Marshall a tight end? He's 6'5", 215.
That's the kid that's committed to A&M, but his dad played at Auburn, and they're probably going to flip him.
Basically, the first tight end who is a true tight end in the 2026 class for Texas in this Rivals industry ranking, I believe, is Javian Martin from Pflugerville.
Yeah.
And he is all the way down. He's a great prospect. I thought Texas should take a look at him, not necessarily offer him, but look at him. But he is the number 62 player in state.
They did look at him. They're very aware of Davian. He's been on campus a few times, Joe. Yeah, I just think they decided to go in another direction.
And then what about the kid from Ruston? He's a 2027 guy.
He's a 2027, Ahmad Hudson. He's actually going to visit Texas on September 20th for one of their games. But this is this kid is an LSU kid. His dad played at LSU. He is also a basketball kid, so he's going to try to do both. I would be shocked if Ahmad Hudson does not go to LSU. You always recruit him. You still go after him. Ahmad Hudson's a dude. I saw him last year when I went and hung out with Aiden Anding, and Hudson is beautiful. He is a beautiful prospect. But pulling him out of Baton Rouge is going to be a chore. Trust me.
One more position to talk about, 3 more guys. That is on the offensive line. Coach, you know a lot about this position from all the different guys you are connected with up in the Metroplex. That's where a lot of Texas' main targets were. We got to talk about 2 of their commitments. One is John Turrentine. Nobody knows that recruitment like you do. He is the type of prospect that you can build an offensive line class around, left tackle. What has he done in the, since that commitment to get ready for this season with North Crowley as they try to go back-to-back?
Just train. That's all he's been focused on in the season. He's really focused. I want to repeat. I want to go back-to-back state champions. That's all it's team focus for him. That's what he's driven on. You feel like recruitment's out the way. He's chosen his home. Now it's time to focus on football and getting better each and every day. And that's really where his focus has been. He's never was a big recruiting kid to begin with, right? So him finding his home and finding it being Texas was great and getting it out the way. But I think he sets the foundation for this class. This kid just wants to win. He wants 4 other guys that line up next to him and just go dominate and whoop somebody every single play. And that's all he's looking for. And so I'm happy that Texas got him.
Justin, what about Max Wright as we stay in the Metroplex? Melissa, you just saw him the other day.
Yeah, so the coolest thing about Max Wright, he's actually gotten a little bigger. I remember last year he was at that 6'7" mark, almost 300 pounds. Now he's 6'7" 3/4. When he's wearing his cleats, he's 6'9", and he's up to about 310, 315. He looks great. I was wondering about his feet. I really in the sliding, and he looked really good. And then I caught up with the head coach at the end of the game, Matt Nally, who's just a tremendous guy. He's like, Justin, this guy's gotten even better. Like he doesn't act like he's committed to Texas. He acts like he shows up that he has to improve every day. He's become a leader, not only in that O-line room, but in that program. And that program's produced some guys, namely a Trevor, your starting left tackle and Trevor Gooseby. And so the coolest thing about Max Wright is that I love that he has a competitive edge to him. He doesn't say much. He barely ever smiles. But he will smile when he talks about riding Porsche 911s when he races them on weekends. How does he fit in the car? Very well, according to Mr. Wright. But I just like anybody that is so – because you got to understand, Max is such a business-like type kid. He's so serious. There's no nonsense or BS is allowed in his stratosphere. He just doesn't understand it. He's mature beyond his years. And when you start talking about those cars and him racing, you can finally see him smile. He sends video to Kyle Flood like almost every other day, at least 2 or 3 times a week. He is a left tackle. Kyle Flood has told him he's a left tackle. He's going to be in Austin in January preparing at left tackle.
Real quick, Nicholas Robertson, because I think some of the guys at Texas missed kind of influence this grade more than Robertson. Just a guy you take on the interior and you wait 3 years and then you plug him into a competition to see where he's at. And if he's better than that, then you'd gladly take that. Committed back in late March, listed at 6'3.5", 300. I know Eric was very happy that he jumped into the class, kind of sets a floor, especially along the interior. Rivals industry ranking has him at number 400. Rivals has him at number 91 in the state. So, this is the type of prospect that with Kyle Flood, he doesn't mind taking and waiting until a couple of years down the road when his body looks a little different. Like think of Andre Kojo before that knee injury. He was someone they were waiting. Yeah, he that was someone they were waiting to, for his body to mature, for him to just physically mature, and he was going to be plugged into a competition before that knee injury. So this is someone that just you take in, maybe you develop him at center, but you wait a little while, a few years, and
he's a guard. He'll be a guard. He's a road grader. He's a guard, and this is one of those you got to trust Kyle Flood type of
right. The B- for the most part, though, Justin, comes from some of the guys they didn't get. Malachi Lee is
Daniel
being Roseboro from Florida.
Felix
Ojo. Felix Ojo.
That was a bad beat. Yeah,
that's 4 right there. And so they need.
We flip Malachi Lee. It's an A-.
I'm with you there, and I think Malachi Lee may be one of the more. Not that they're going to need him day one, but he may be one of the more day one ready players in the whole class. I think Roseboro is good. I think Krempen's right above him. I would go Lee, Krempen, Roseboro. And I'm not trying to be sour grapes here.
I think Ojo and Roseboro are on the same par.
As far as day
because there's a lot of development that has to go there, Joe. Felix has all the upside. He just needs to be developed.
Right. And, that could mean Felix Ojo's 1-1 and Malachi Lee's on day 2 next year. But I think as far as day one player, Malachi Lee, and that seems him, Malachi Lee, and Zayden Krempen, Justin, seem like the 2 prospects that Texas is going to maintain contact with over the other 2 as far as finishing up this 2026 class.
And that's what they're doing. Listen, flipping Krempen is going to be almost impossible. He's one of those loyal kids. Once he's like Michael Fasusi. Once he commits, he's locked in. It's just kind of how he's wired, and I love that about him. But Malachi Lee is going to be the one they're going to wear him down. They should have taken him in June when he was taking his OV. They should have procured that. We can always look back. Malachi Lee jumps in. This is an A- class.
He liked Texas a whole lot. Sometimes
he loved Texas. That was his first offer. He's got connections to the school. Many things lined up Texas, but as we know, Texas kind of had a lot of their eggs in the Felix Ojo basket. It cost them. That's part of recruiting. Sometimes you lose a couple trying to gain one, but I think Texas and Flood will recover.
We'll have that whole story covered over on Inside Texas, the best intel, recruiting, team, best community, everything. It's that first link in our description. So come over, join for just $1. We'll also throw in a full year of access to The Athletic. And come see us this week, today, tonight, 5 p.m., Big City Wings over in the Marquee in Houston, Texas. Happy hour from 5 to 7, trivia from 7 to 9. Come see Eric, come see LC. Wednesday, Katy Trail Icehouse in Dallas, Texas. Happy hour starting at 5 p.m. And then Thursday, Little Woodrow's on Burnet. Happy hour 5 to 7, trivia from 7 to 9. Come see all of us there over in my neck of the woods. So, Justin, thank you so much. Charlie, thank you. Know you're letting some people into the place. We'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.